I created a vector color chart to have printed by JLC3DP using their WJP process. I wanted to see exactly how the colors were rendered out on the file. Here's all the values I used for the chart, the RGB values, as well as the gradients, skin tones, contrast colors, anything that would be helpful in determining exactly how the colors come out on a part. This is the part in Blender, UV mapped just to a 2mm thick box. The rear side came out a little bit larger than I wanted, so the millimeter numbers on the back will be off slightly. The front side, which with the colors, which is what was the most important for me, came out correct. These are all the specs for the full color resin that they print. When I set the part to be printed, they came back and said 2mm was a little thin. They were kind of concerned that it would crack or warp. So I just asked them to send me the part straight off the build plate without doing any support removal, any cleanup whatsoever. This is the part as it showed up to me with all the support material still attached. It's like a gel-like material that is water soluble, so you can soak it in water, have it loosen up, either use an ultrasonic cleaner, or you can look online to see what sort of cleaners or water solutions work the best. I just soaked mine in water for a while, hot water, and then used a wire brush to scrub it to get all of it off. I believe JLC uses a wet sandblasting process to get it all off, which is why they're concerned about the thickness of the parts when you submit them. I wasn't worried about it since I was going to be doing it all by hand and wasn't going to be using any sandblasting. Again, I just soaked it in water and then used a wire brush to scrub it all off. Initially, I was concerned that it was going to scratch the surface somehow, but after working with it for a little bit, I realized that that just wasn't an issue with this material. At first, I just started scraping off a bunch of it. Wasn't really sure what was going to be the best tool to take it off. After getting the majority of it off, this is when I soaked it in hot water for a while. Then scrubbed it in the hot water bath as well with a wire brush. Here's the results of the part compared to the same chart printed on high quality matte paper. This isn't anything special, it's just for my home printer. The colors are pretty good, pretty close, not exact on the darker shades. The gradients show a little bit of banding, but nothing too bad, especially with the rainbow of colors. Transitions are pretty good. The magentas and purples are a little bit dark. The text on the back was pretty clear. Again, it's a little bit larger than what I actually wanted, but it came out pretty good. This is a microscopic view of the part. You can see all of the texture that's left on it after printing. I believe this is before I hit it with a wire brush. I'm not 100% sure, but I think this was just after initial soaking and removal of the support material. I haven't actually brushed it yet. This shows after I brushed it. It almost looks like a fiberglass. I also sanded it a little bit at the top there, but all the scratches and you can see it knocked it down a little bit. That's just from brushing it and scrubbing it with a wire brush in hot water. Got all the support material off, but the texture is very rough. I decided to start with some 400 grit sandpaper and work my way up to 3000 grit. This is after a little bit of sanding. You can see some deep etches still there. Nothing too bad. I was worried about burning through the color into the white resin underneath, but it turns out that the color, at least on this layer, the top layer, is very, very thick. Again, this is wet sanding it up to 3000 grit. The texture's almost gone. I sanded it even more. It got a very nice matte surface. I'm sure the color will pop a little bit better if I added some sort of gloss or matte covering to the surface. But this is just the bare resin after sanding. And this is before sanding, so you have an idea of how it started and how it finished. I used several tools to try and score the surface to see if I could get underneath the color, but I wasn't able to. So I decided to use an X-Acto knife and cut as deep as possible, or relatively deep. Put some good score, some scratches on it. See if I could get to the undercoat. I'm not sure if it's the way this was printed because the colors were at the top of the build plate. If that's why the colors are thicker or not, I don't know, but the colors here on this part were very thick. This was just the initial 2 cuts. And I just kept cutting and cutting and grinding out some more and some more to see if I could get a white to the white underneath. Even though I scratched it and gouged it quite a bit, there was no definite white line, or I couldn't see a definite line where the color stopped and then the white began underneath. That's the view of the gouge that I cut out of it. Again, you can't really see a white layer underneath at all. The color goes all the way down. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.